Today we're making
ramen. It's going to be chicken and clam ramen rather than what we traditionally have outside of Japan.
And where did the recipe come from?
The recipe is my interpretation of a restaurant in Ginza. It's actually a French chef that's making the ramen or making the recipes there. And it's called Clam Soba, I think. And I don't know why soba and ramen are internationally exchangeable.
All right, shall we?
Yep, we're gonna start by blanching some chicken wings.
You know Chinese grandmas, they add wings in cold water and bring to the boil.
Oh yeah?
The theory is so that more scum would come out because you don't shock the outside right away. I don't know how much science there is to that, but same with pork. So the Chinese grandma, they're cooking pork, they always cold water and bring the heat. So the muscle fibers don't tighten immediately.
Is that what we should do then?
I personally think it makes absolutely no difference.
Yeah, brilliant.
So today we're using chicken wings because...
Just explain this.
Not in this episode.
Because, go and find out why here. No, because they've got a really good ratio of bones and connective tissues and meat, so you get a lot more flavor from them. Okay, so now we're going to remove the blanched chicken wings.
Why did we blanch them?
Because grandma said so. No, because we're blanching the chicken wings so that we end up with a nice clean and clear broth. That's the only reason why.
Now we switch to
Pressure cooker.
Just to speed things up. Straight in.
Yeah, we can go straight in and then straight in with some water.
And are we adding any aromatic vegetables as well?
Not yet. So I think that aromatic vegetables should go in. If you're cooking this without a pressure cooker, you probably want to do it over 4 hours. I think pressure cookers speed things up by about 3 times. So we're going to cook it for about an hour. And I think that the vegetables should only go in for about an hour. So we'll take it to 15 minutes and then we'll add some vegetables.
So we bring this to pressure eventually. Yeah, we'll set this aside and we let this cook for 1 hour. In the meantime,
we're going to wash the clams. So we've got a variety of clams. We've got some cherry stone, some cockles and some clams. So we're going to wash them all in salted water first. We want it to be about sea salty and we're going in with all of our clams. They will all fit.
Yep. These are extremely tasty raw, by the way. So
they are. Do you want? You can keep 1, 2, 3 for raw if you want.
Yeah, let's keep at least one.
If you find any that have a broken shell, definitely remove them. So the reason why you put them in salty water first is because they are actually still alive. So you might have noticed some bubbles coming up. After it goes into salty water, we're just going to move it over to the sink.
Carefully.
So we're going to leave it sit in the salty water for about 5 minutes. We want that water to be as cold as possible. And then after that, we'll start running them through the tap water just to filter.
What's next?
So next we're going to prep some of our veg.
What about the chashu?
We're going to prep the chashu. This is a Japanese style one, so we're going to actually sous vide this one.
Just the whole thing?
Yeah.
In the bag?
In the bag with some soy sauce, mirin.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this is the Ibereko pork collar, which is our favorite cut for the chashu. It's also the most underrated cut for Ibereko pork in my opinion, because it's 1/3 the price.
Yeah.
Compared to the expensive cut. Extremely flavorsome, extremely forgiving, and yeah, like Shaulan said, we're gonna cook it sous vide at what temperature? 85?
I'm done with 85.
All right, because you want the collagens to break down quickly.
Yeah.
Unless we have all day. Oh, and for the purists out there, we're aware that sous vide technically means back, but we're just being very lazy. We're steaming it at 85 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
If it makes you happier. Do we salt now?
We're going to put some soy sauce in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and some mirin. Should I get a recipe of the inside?
So, to that, mirin?
No.
Oh, sorry. This is how we normally film. We rip off other people's recipes.
Just make it your own.
Yeah. So, to the pork, we're going to add...
We're going to start off with some sake.
And we're adding sake because...
It removes the smell from the meat, so...
The unwanted part.
Yes.
And light soy sauce.
And then in with some light soy sauce. We're actually going to add some water to this as well. And then a little bit of mirin. And some sugar.
A ton of sugar. The most sugar you've seen on this channel.
Yeah. And then...
Just enough water to cover the whole thing. Are we going to use the sauce later? Or?
Yes. No, I don't think so. And then with a paper towel, just going to cover it.
Why do we need this on top?
So that liquid covers the meat.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
It's like cheating a bit.
Oh, maybe we do that then.
Yeah. So the paper towel ensures that the meat has full liquid contact, which is why we can get away with calling it sous vide. Maybe.
Perfect. Now this thing goes into the combi at 85 for I don't know, 1 hour?
I think we're going to need at least an hour for it. Yeah. Next, we can prep some of our vegetables. We're going to prep the ones for the broth first. We don't need to bother removing the skin for a broth.
But wash it.
Yes. And then we're going to use a few cloves of garlic. We'll go with 3. 3 is a good number.
These go into the broth later, yeah?
Yeah. This is all going into broth later. And we're just going to remove the skin of that. I like this. Brilliant.
The assembly line.
Yeah. Actually, can you come to Evernight 9 Elms when I'm working? Because it'll make it a lot
Reservation link is here if you live in London.
If you don't, then it's only there's a reservation link for BA, and then so we've gone with a white onion. They're a lot sweeter and milder.
Yeah, I almost never like cooked red onion. I find there's almost like an off-putting taste to it.
It depends. If you like finish it with a vinegar or something, it's quite nice.
So next recipe. All right, what's next?
I think we're going to dice half of it and use that for garnish for the plate. Maybe not even half of it, maybe a quarter of it, that much of it. So then we have a bunch of spring onions. In Japan they would use negi, which I don't quite know how to explain.
Stronger, faster, better.
Yeah, it has a very long white stem, and then the leaves are still circular as a spring onion, but it probably looks closer to a leek in size. Yeah,
like trimmed leeks.
Yeah, so with the roots, we're going to use those for the broth. They're very clean already.
Extremely clean.
Yeah,
wow.
And I think the roots of vegetables generally have a very nice flavor.
Oh, coriander. I mean,
Yeah.
That's like the...
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll use 2 for the broth.
For me, they're chicken's best friend.
Yeah.
More so than ginger even. It's a coin toss, but...
Yeah, and then with the 3rd spring onion, we're going to about the same size. Obviously the leaves are a lot thinner than an onion though.
This is for garnish, yeah?
Yeah.
And this is?
This is called mitsuba. My best way of explaining this would be that it's like very, very mild parsley. Try your best to find mitsuba because I think it permeates broths really, really nicely. And the more that we use this sort of thing in outside of Asia, the more they'll have to import or
they grow. They already grow them in the UK, I think.
No, not as far as I know.
I thought Japan centers, not just there, sorry. No, the udon place. Koya's farm. I thought they grew these.
Oh, maybe. Not sure on that.
Are you using the stalks?
Yeah, we'll use the stalks as well, but we'll chop the stalks up. I think the leaves look quite nice when they're together and not cut.
They probably turn green as well when it touches heat.
And the stalk has so much flavor, so absolutely need to keep that. So the clams have been sitting in the water for, the salted water for about 5 minutes.
Oh, no, more than 5 minutes.
Bit more than 5 minutes, but that's okay. And we're just going to run the tap on cold, obviously, just to wash out any remaining dirt.
All right, after about an hour.
It was about 45 minutes, I think.
After about 45 minutes, Shaulan has expertly depressurized the cooker.
To do that really quickly, just run the lid under cold water.
Now, moment of truth. Beautiful. Smells like chicken.
Very important, that.
And now,
a little bit whiter than I want, but that's okay.
It's okay. We're gonna add...
We're adding the onion, the stems of the spring onion.
The roots.
Yes, sorry. The roots of the spring onion. Some garlic, some ginger, and then I'm actually only going to add mainly the white bits.
Yeah, it changes the color of the broth otherwise.
Yeah, and then we'll add the green bits at the end, just before we strain it, so there's a nice freshness that comes through. So we're going to repressurize that and cook it for a further 15 minutes.
We'll see you then. Now.
So, yeah, no, you go, you.
What are we doing?
What are you doing?
Now, we're opening the lid.
Yep, dramatic effect.
So the vegetables had 15 minutes to impart the flavors.
Yeah.
And now we're adding...
We're adding some fresh spring onion greens.
Just for a bit of freshness and not to cloud the stock too much.
More than we already have.
Yes.
We should have added this a bit earlier probably, but that's okay. A little bit of kombu and some katsuobushi as well.
Which is dried, shaved...
Skipjack tuna flakes. Yes, bonito in everyone else's known English. We'll leave that to sit for 4 minutes.
Yeah. While we check on...
We'll check the chashu. Dramatic effects steam.
Damn, I hope my body's not covering the steam.
It probably is, isn't it? There will be an angle.
So, the collar has had an hour in the combi at 85 Celsius.
Now the color requires a bit more cooking, so we're not going to get quite the beautiful pink that we want.
But just to be on the safe side, we're at 72 Celsius, so it's definitely cooked through. And with color, you want to bring it above 70, just for the connective tissue and collagen to have time to break down into very, very yummy gelatin. Verdict?
Broth actually tastes quite nice.
Maybe that's where the color came from.
That's sort of what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's too nice to waste, isn't it?
I worry the sweetness would overpower the clams. That's my only concern.
Yeah, but we can sort of just
Add a tiny
finish
bit.
it.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
you
yeah,
would
yeah.
use tare,
Yeah.
we're going to use that.
Yeah.
So in order to keep our broth super clear, we're going to strain it through paper as well as a sieve.
This would take the excess pork fat away as well.
Yeah.
This will also take a while.
Yeah. Should we get some pork fat as well?
Yes. Let's put it on it. Yes, yeah. Thank you. Oh, he's a pro now, guys.
He's learned all of my tricks.
Rub in front of our eyes.
It's okay. It's white on black.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So now we're just going to sweat off our...
Aromatic vegetables.
No, because those are aromatic as well. Our alliums. Alliums is the correct terminology. No one will understand, but that's okay. We're going to go in with a little bit of Iberico pork fat, keeping in theme, and some extra virgin olive oil, which is a very weird ingredient for this, but this is a recipe from Mugi to olive. You can take it off the heat because we don't want to add any color.
Okay.
It just looks very hot. Too hot?
It's okay, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll cool it down. Because this is super thin.
Yeah, we sort of want them to be separate. No, we don't, because in Japan you'd use negi. We're trying to replicate that by using 2 ingredients rather than 1. And then we can turn that back on.
We can go higher than this. Okay, maybe not. No, because the dashi pot is so thin. It's so reactive, it's crazy.
I think I've had enough time in oil now.
Yeah.
Now we're going to add some of the liquid from the pork chashu that, as we just found out, is nowhere near a chashu, if you're Cantonese or understand. I think it's important to start onions in oil for anything other than a broth. And I don't know why. This is what I got taught as a chef.
Maybe something's fat soluble only.
Yeah.
Well, we'll Google that after.
Yeah, I think that's just about enough. We don't want them to completely lose their texture, but we don't want them to be raw. It tastes so delicious.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This combo is insane.
Yeah.
It's the right level of sweetness.
Yeah, I think you can just leave it there. Yep.
Should we switch it off?
Yep. I'm considering whether we should take it out of the broth or not.
Take what out of sieve it. That's incredible.
Sometimes you don't need a sieve, you just need patience, yeah. I think no chef actually has any patience. I'm not a chef, I just do sushi. I knew how to be a chef. I've learned how to be a chef, but I just do sushi. It's different. We're not chefs. Can we insert Gordon Ramsay calling someone an idiot sandwich there?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, the kombu, the katsubushi, and the scallion green had time to infuse their flavors. Now we open the pressure cooker once again. That was being steeped, by the way, there was no heat. And now we pass everything through a sieve. Perfect. Round 2. So
we're just trying to create a very clean broth here.
Oh.
No, that's okay.
Not gonna fit. Definitely not gonna fit.
It's going very slowly.
So now,
we're going to remove the water from the clams.
Are we removing the water from the clams or the clams from the water?
Well, we tipped the water out of the bowl. So I'm definitely going with we're removing the water from the clams on this one. Probably remove the towel from there.
Oh, and now?
We want the big ones separate because we're going to cook them first.
Okay.
And we want the cockles mainly for the broth, we can eat them, and the clams for the soup. Probably creates quite a nice image though.
I know. It's a very good trick that you lift the clams from the bowl instead of just pouring, because then you get
all this, all
scum.
And we don't want that. So we're going to start with the bigger clams, and we're also going to keep the smaller clams that aren't cockles, some of them on the side.
For presentation.
These ones are going to go into the finished product. The cockles will create a great flavor because they're really lovely and sweet.
Super sweet.
Yeah.
Oil?
I think there's going to be just about enough oil in there, but do you want to pour the sake into there?
Yeah. All of it?
Yeah, because we're going to use that in the broth anyway.
Yeah.
So I just realised I have some white bits on my shirt. That's from the muslin.
I filmed one video with half the shirt unbuttoned.
You told me about that.
I bin that one.
Once that's come up to temperature, we're going to go in with our larger
clams.
Clams, cherry stones in this case. I think these ones are actually a really good size for this dish.
Yeah, lid on.
Yep, sort of. The large clams will take a little bit longer to cook through, hence where...
There's a misconception, I think, as well with clams, that some people believe the ones who do not open are dead. They're actually the opposite.
Yes.
Dead.
Yep.
They're so strong and resilient that you should eat those ones.
Yep.
Popping already.
The ones that are open before they're cooked,
Tap them.
if they don't stay closed or go close up when you close the shell, then they're dead.
Cherry stone gets a head start, and now cockles and clams. With the help of a tiny bit of sake, we're practically letting the clams steam themselves in their own juices.
Yep.
So we're minimizing dilution.
And the sake will help to clean the flavor as well.
So today we have, of course, transparent, ugly lid. But if you had a non-transparent lid, the trick for me is always just to listen to the popping sound.
Yeah.
And once that subsides, you know, it's time to check on the clams.
You know what the best way is actually? Steam
Of
oven.
course,
Yeah. Yeah.
Just not as camera, well, not that this is camera
Yeah.
friendly. No, I was doing oysters and oyster sauce.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to cook them anyway, so I just steamed them for 5 minutes before I shut them. So, wow, I look like a pro.
Make sure that that stays on. So our clams have been obviously steaming, and I've just been taking them out as they've started opening up. And almost all of the liquid here is from the clams.
And they'll go...
Except for a very small splash of our chicken stock and the sake.
yeah.
Yeah. Now we've got our clam broth and our chicken broth. We're going to amalgamate those because all of the flavors together will taste better. Now we're going to season our broth. It's a little bit whiter than I wanted it to be, but we also used a pressure cooker. So if you don't use a pressure cooker, it should be a lot clearer.
Or if you start it with cold water.
Or if you start it with cold water. So Chinese grandmas of the way, yeah. We've got some Japanese soy sauce. So quick story on soy sauce. Japanese and Chinese soy sauce are completely different.
Sit there while the story is.
You can correct me as well. So it's using a different koji or bacteria that grows on rice, but it also produces two very different flavors. Our Japanese soy sauce is a lot darker. And the reason why we're also using Chinese one, even though we associate ramen with Japanese food, is because ramen actually came to Japan from China. So Japan have developed a completely different soy sauce for ramen than for regular Japanese food.
And now we have shoyu ramen.
Yeah, really wanted it to be a bit clearer than that, but that's okay. It just looks dirty.
We plate?
So we need to cook the noodles first.
So
We're going to cook the noodles, and while we're waiting for the water to boil, we're also going to slice our chashu.
oh, beautiful.
If you're Chinese, then it's not chashu.
Steamed pork.
Yeah, steamed pork. Come first piece.
Yeah, beautiful. But that's why it's such a forgiving cut. Like, look at
Yeah.
all the collagen around.
Actually, it's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
That's actually really nice.
Could probably do with 30 minutes more.
What,
Just for
marination
the-
time?
No, for cooking time.
Cooking time.
Just for the tenderize, like for these to melt.
Yeah.
Perfect. In Japanese cooking, do they salt the water for ramen? or-
No. So they put not bicarbonate of soda, but something else in the
Yeah,
ramen.
but like baking powder, not baking soda, basically. Yeah. So Shaulan put the ramen bowl on top of the.
I think one of the most important parts of it that's probably quite overlooked is that everything has to be super hot. So in Japan, you slurp the noodles so that you incorporate air, which cools it down, but it also incorporates air into the broth, cooling down the broth. Otherwise, the broth should completely burn your mouth while it's in the bowl.
And that's why, like, even the lightest ramen has a good oil content. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's bringing the liquid above water boiling point.
Yeah, I'm almost finished this. So we almost have one less bowl, which is one less clutter.
I think the bowl is hot enough.
Good. I don't. Yeah. So we've got fresh ramen here, and then just make sure that you, move the ramen
Really?
a lot.
Yeah.
I think you just go one at a time. We're just doing one bowl. I'm gonna fill that up at the end. Do you want to take them over now? Because
Yeah.
it's been about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And Evan knows how to use chopsticks very well, hence he
I
can
just dropped it on that note.
basically a professional, except for that one time. So we're going to put some of our onions on. Bottoms of the mitsuba, and here we have some, I actually bought this at a shop because it's very difficult to get the right bamboo to make it.
What's the alternative to buying it from a shop?
So you can get the tin of bamboo and then you season it with soy sauce and mirin to make it sweet. I really like this stuff, so we're going lots of that. And then we'll go with some of the tops of the mitzvah.
Cherry stones.
Cherry stone. I'm just going to put one on. I think it looks nicer with one. Some of our clams. Getting about 8 messages right now. Really annoying. Probably telling me that I'm doing this wrong. Because we sliced our chashu in half, I'm going to go obviously not with 4 because it's my least favorite number. We already know that. 3 slices of chashu.
Need something red.
Yeah, they have a little
Sushi,
fish cake, but I don't think it will work. But I am going to finish it. Tiny drop of olive oil. Last thing, half a sheet of nori.
I've always wanted to ask, so what's the etiquette of eating the nori when you have a ramen?
I always dip it completely
Same.
into
I
the
just
broth.
let him go. Yeah,
But I don't quite know.
Way, you know? And there you have it.
This is my take on Mugi to Olive's ramen, or soba, as it were.
Cheers.
Cheers. You have to say a verdict. Oh, wine's not bad.
Wine's really good. Right, let's try. I personally, when I have a ramen,
I think you should dip everything into the broth.
so if I were at a restaurant, the first thing I do is I just have the broth.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of your ramen spoons as well.
Wow, the olive oil actually worked.
Yeah.
Especially with the sauteed negi. I feel like that added...
It's crazy what
Quite a
flavor profile it brings.
Yeah.
So this was one of my favorite ramens in Japan.
Well, normally, before mixing, I have a bite of each. This is so good that I almost feel like we need to film a separate video on that without the sous vide, without the combi. Just poach in that liquid.
Can I mix it all together now? Sorry, it needs all the flavor from the mitzvah.
No?
I don't think that's a bad take. It tastes similar, but not the same. But I don't think it's a bad take. I think it tastes pretty good.
Noodles not bad actually.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I rate them.
Wow.
Shout out Nankotsu for their.
I'm so blessed.
Go and buy the.
Wow.
Go and buy the noodles, but cook them yourself.
Very good.
No shame.
Oh, this is so good. I think that's a wrap. Cheers. Oh, really good.